Hey you, it's Janet Cleary of Visible Transitions. And quick disclaimer, I have a traumatic brain injury, so I'm sensitive to light and screens and therefore wear my sunglasses. And as you can see, I'm making light of being sensitive to the light with all my fun sunglasses. So join me if you'd like in the fun. And first off, don't believe a word that I'm about to say. And what I mean is go and do your own due diligence, practice some of the tips I give you, and see your own results. And this is regarding coping well in the midst of CoronApocalypse. So coping well in the midst of CoronApocalypse. And I'm here to foster self-reliance and confidence, not codependence and irresponsibility. Again, so take what you learn, grab some tips and experiment, and you'll see for yourself that visible transitions, photographic techniques really help, especially in the midst of a huge life transition such as the CoronApocalypse. And there are so many layers to this: the immature systems of justice and medicine and politics and education, and we could go on and on. And I'm an expert in life transitions, and I always have the intention of modeling how we and you can actually experience more ease and calm and joy and stay in your personal power, feeling sovereign and grounded during upheavals like the global upheaval we're in together. And I want to tell you a little bit about my personal transition. I'm still in the midst of it, and how asking one question helped me cope better. So January 14th of this year, my throat was closing shut, and I drove myself to the emergency room late at night, and I had dealing with hives, so systemic hives all over my body since November 14th of last year, 2019. And now my throat was swelling closed, so I drive myself to the emergency room. They drug me up. They sent me home in the middle of the night. So I drove home in the middle of the night. The next day I canceled all things, slept, and the next morning in the bathroom I stood up and I went unconscious. And as you know, bathrooms have lots of hard surfaces, so somewhere in the bathroom I smashed my head and my nose, and I went unconscious, and that resulted in a concussion. When I came to, I was terrified. I have never felt so terrified in all my doozy circumstances, all the life transitions I've gone through. This was the most terrifying. So I decided I was going to call 911, and I got up, and well, I went unconscious again and fell backwards. So I smashed all the back of my body, including my head. And it's pretty clear I have 2 concussions from this trauma. I call 911, we're in the ambulance, and my throat starts to swell closed. My heart rate goes up. And I decided I'm going to use my Visible Transitions signature neutrality practice to save my life. And that's what I did. And the neutrality practice you can learn in previous videos in the last month. And it's a very simple visual photographic technique to help calm you down in the moment, to reduce overwhelm, stress, anxiety long term, to help you be more present and calm in the midst of upheaval upheaval or conflict. Well, the paramedic looked at me with his jaw dropped and he said, whatever you just did brought all your vital signs back to normal. So there you go. That's a visible transition. All right, it can save lives. Neutrality practice, who knew, can save lives. Fast forward to the beginning of March, now like 7-8 weeks into this hell, and spending all my time in bed with a black scarf over my eyes, with, thank goodness, the astounding support of my community in and out of my home every day for weeks on end, helping me with your basic daily activities, making the bed, doing laundry, cooking, cleaning dishes, of course, driving me to all my appointments. I'm actually still not driving, and we're in month 5 now. We're at like 150, probably 160 days now since my own, what I'm calling it, concussion. Okay, back to March, beginning of March. Now I'm at the point, I have no conviction to live. I have no conviction to heal. I am done with life. Get me the hell out of here. And of course, I knew that was not the way. I knew there was another option. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, and how it can help you cope in the middle of CoronApocalypse and in the midst of any kind of upheaval in your life. So I'm lying there in the dark, done, get me the hell out of here. And I ask life, and you can, it could be your God, spirit, universe, like whomever, whatever you look to for guidance. So I use the term life, and I asked life, what is my third option? What is option 3? Because option 1 of getting a job and first of all, I'm self-employed. I run my business, Visible Transitions. I'm not generating any money at this point. My soul will absolutely not do the 9-to-5 thing. I haven't done it in years. It's just not the way that I'm built. And honestly, I think I am not employable. And that was not an option. Option 2 would be to run my business the way that I was running it, which was pretty good, but clearly not completely in alignment. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I was. So really, so many great, many gazillion minutes and hours and days to contemplate. And anyway, the way I was running my business was clear to me was not an option. So what was option 3? Okay, life, what is option 3? Otherwise, I'm out of here. And so I did not receive an immediate answer. I did not receive a definitive answer. After time went on, what I realized is asking that question was the answer. So I'm inviting you to ask the question, what is my option 3? And now I'm inviting all of us to ask it on a global level, which I think is very appropriate. What is our option 3? As we see the apocalypse, the CoronApocalypse, the unveiling of the truth, and of the immaturity of our systems, justice, politics, medicine, education, and so on, they no longer work. They no longer work. And now we're in this opportunity where we can rewrite the script of our lives. So what is option 3? There is option 3. And you can look at politics and go, oh my God, the two options for the next president. Well, start asking, what is option 3? And, there's Republicans, Democrats, that's a duality. Blacks, whites, black and white, duality. Do I wear a mask or no mask? Duality. Do I, as a business, stay open or do I stay closed? Duality. Do I go outside? Do I stay inside? Duality. Do I hug or do I keep my physical distancing? Duality. And then there's execution and resurrection. So are we feeling executed? Are you feeling executed? Or are you seeing this as a time to resurrect, to rise up into your mojo? What are your unique gifts? This is the time where all of that, for all of us, all the unique gifts can come out. How can we access our creativity in a way that is so necessary right now to create real change? Well, my answer to all these questions is always curiosity. There's no way to create effective, favorable change when we're in a state of fight or flight, resistance, anger, frustration, opposition. There really is no way to create effective, favorable change in that state. Now, those states can be vehicles for change. So stay with me here. I have taken, and I talked about this in my other video entitled How to Convert Rage into Usefulness. So the way to take these emotions that feel unpleasant and use them as fuel to cope and to create effective change is from the place of curiosity. So we could say that that is option 3 as well. That state of curiosity, the expansiveness, the expansive state, that which we put our attention on expands. If we're frustrated and resistant and we're putting our focus on that, guess what gets bigger? And you can see it all around you. The inflammatory systems, the inflammatory global distress, the inflammatory conversations that are happening on social media. This is the time to focus on our gifts and how we can expand those gifts and give those gifts in a useful way. And it comes from that state of curiosity, that neutral, calm state. Now, neutrality, when I speak of neutrality, it's not apathy, especially when we're talking about racism. That's not what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to groundedness, that childlike wonder state, just like a child, and you're sitting or you're standing there and you're observing everything. You're not judging it. You're not making up stories or narratives. You're looking at all of it. That is where we access our gut instinct, our intuition, our creativity, our solutions. That this is the place for effective change. And this is how to cope in the CoronApocalypse. So, I'm looking at my notes. I have a brain injury, so be patient with me. Just go back to the question, what is option 3? So start with yourself. That's where all change takes place. And then ask it on a global perspective, and it'll put you into that place of optimism and possibility. So I have spent the last 160 days compromised, and relying on my community to help me. And they have come forth for me. Thank goodness. Thank you again. And do you think if I had resistance and stayed in my anger and stayed in my hellish place all these days, do you think I would be here right now talking? No, I would not be. I still have a ways to go, and I can feel my head is hurting already. It's 16 minutes, and my capacity to talk much longer is dwindling. So what is option 3? There are options. There is an option 3. We literally cannot go back to the way things were. And this is our time. This is our time. We see the dismantling. This is our time to rewrite option 3. That's going to work for all of us. And the conversations we have, if they're in a sincere state of curiosity, they're going to work. And that looks like listening. Not conjuring up what you're going to say next to this person. Not attempting to be right. Not attempting to have the other person change their mind. But to listen and learn from all walks of life. There's no way the millions of us are going to agree on one thing. There's just no way. Therefore, the reality is, how do we get along? How do we stay in harmony in that expansive state to create effective, favorable change in a co-creative global way? Well, first it starts with the self, and that state of curiosity. I tell ya, it works. So I'm going to leave you with this. First of all, stay sincerely curious. Question without projection. Question with intention. Question without assumption. Question with illumination. See you soon.